Thank you, Stuart, for that introduction. And good morning, everyone, and thank you all for participating in today's 2020 States and National Policy Summit. While precautions in response to the COVID-19 pandemic prevent us from meeting together in person, I'm nevertheless grateful for the opportunity to use this virtual forum to provide you all with a review of the national and Homeland Security work that the Department of Homeland Security has accomplished this year under the leadership of President Trump. Before I begin, I would like to thank the ALEC CEO, Lisa Nelson, National Chairman and Mississippi House Speaker Philip Gunn, and the rest of the team at ALEC for their flexibility and hard work organizing this virtual event. As Acting Secretary, I could not be prouder of the 240,000 men and women of DHS during this past year. Despite the challenging circumstances, they continue to perform their duty to protect the American people by utilizing their agility and ingenuity. Our mission to protect the homeland continues no matter the circumstances, and I can confidently say that each American can sleep well at night knowing that our people are on the front lines making sure our country is safe and secure. To say 2020 has been a challenging year for DHS would be quite the understatement. While addressing new threats like the COVID-19 pandemic, we are also adjusting our procedures to keep our people safe while protecting the border, maintaining the integrity of our immigration system, and enforcing the rule of law. Today, I'll focus on 4 key aspects of our mission and the accomplishments we've achieved in each of them during the past year. Those include border security and immigration, economic security, enforcing the rule of law, and efforts to counter human trafficking. President Trump has long recognized that a country that does not secure its borders and allows rampant abuse of its immigration laws is, in fact, no country at all. Therefore, protecting our national borders and maintaining the integrity of our immigration system have been a top priority for our department from day one. When evaluating our progress on this front, it's key to understand the challenges we inherited before this administration took office. And simply put, our border security system was grossly outdated and our immigration system was broken. And while they worked tirelessly on the front lines, the men and women of DHS simply did not have the resources they needed to keep Americans safe. Meanwhile, smugglers, traffickers, and illegal aliens were incentivized to break our laws by being released into our country and absconding without consequence. In response, the President empowered the department to address these problems, and the results speak for themselves. In almost 4 years, we have reached historic agreements with our Northern Triangle partners and the government of Mexico to stem illegal immigration. We've implemented the Migrant Protection Protocols, which ensures a safer and more orderly process along the southwest border, discourages fraudulent asylum claims, and enables quick immigration results. We suspended asylum for individuals who traverse through a safe third country where they could seek asylum but decided not to, and we expanded programs to fast-track the asylum review process. We've directed DHS law enforcement officers to no longer exempt removable aliens from enforcement action, reversing a dangerous policy implemented by the last administration. And we uncovered massive fraud that victimized children and made them part of fraudulent families to take advantage of loopholes in our immigration system. We've ended the disastrous catch and release policy, reducing the number of individuals released into the country from nearly 500,000 in fiscal year 2019 to just 15,000 in fiscal year 2020. That is a 96% decrease. And those who were released were allowed into our country on humanitarian grounds, reflecting the true intent of our laws. We've worked closely with the CDC to prohibit the admission of illegal aliens during the COVID-19 pandemic, as holding them in congregate settings would have been a public health catastrophe for them, our officers, and our border communities. As a result of this order, CBP is returning approximately 90% of individuals who would otherwise be kept in CBP facilities back to Mexico or their home countries expeditiously, often within 2 hours. And one of our most important accomplishments has been fulfilling the President's promise to the American people to strengthen our border security by building an effective border wall system. Our progress on this front during the past year has been nothing short of outstanding. In January, we completed 100 miles of the new border wall system. In June, we had doubled that number and reached 200 miles. In August, we reached the 300-mile marker, and in late October, we celebrated the completion of the 400th mile. Our most recent figures show approximately 415 miles of new border wall system completed, and we expect to build a total of 450 miles by the end of this calendar year. This pace is incredible on its own merits, but it's even more so when you factor in what we've been able to accomplish during the worst global health crisis in modern history. Contrary to what many critics claim, each mile of the new border wall system is brand new and includes several critical components. In addition to a physical barrier, the system includes access roads, perimeter lighting, enforcement cameras, and other technologies that support our agents on the front lines. Our work on immigration and border security tells the American people two things. First, that the Trump administration believes nothing is more important than protecting American citizens and our national sovereignty. And second, that in order to keep the homeland safe, it is critical that we empower the men and women of DHS who have been tasked with doing so. In addition to securing our country's physical security, DHS also plays a leading role in protecting American economic security. The Trump administration recognizes that our country's prosperity is inherently intertwined with our national security. At DHS, we often say economic security is homeland security. And that's just not a catchphrase. It is the philosophy under which the department has operated, especially during this past year. One of our primary missions in this space is enforcing our trade laws in order to protect both American businesses and consumers, ensuring that we remain globally competitive. Additionally, our law enforcement officers work tirelessly each day to disrupt terrorist financing, target fraudulent and counterfeit products, ensure trade transparency, and protect the U.S. government's revenue. Our economic security mission has only grown in importance with the rise of China and the Chinese Communist Party's abuses of long-established global economic system. In addition to its economy, China is leveraging every aspect of its country, including its military and diplomatic power, to reject Western democracy and to remake the world order in its own authoritarian image. China's willingness to abuse the economic system in pursuit of this goal knows no bounds. Its long list of abuses includes intellectual property theft, stealing trade secrets from American innovators, harvesting personal data for profit, shattering the privacy of Americans, exporting unjust business practices that harm American entrepreneurs, attempting to hack American organizations conducting COVID-19 research, and abusing student visas to exploit American academia, just to name a few. China's willingness to tread on long-established norms is unabated, but it is not unexpected and it is not unstoppable. DHS is taking action to protect our economic prosperity by utilizing the authorities provided to us by Congress. Some of our most recent actions include blocking visas for certain Chinese graduate students and researchers, preventing them from stealing and appropriating sensitive research, targeting illicit Chinese manufacturers exploiting the COVID-19 pandemic by producing fraudulent or prohibited PPE and medical supplies that could endanger American citizens and frontline workers, and preventing goods produced from slave labor from entering our markets and demanding that China respect the integrity of each human being, regardless of race or ethnicity. CBP had a record-breaking year in forced labor enforcement efforts, keeping goods suspected of being made with forced labor out of the country. During fiscal year 2020, CBP issued 13 new withhold release orders in its first civil penalty since enactment of the Trade Facilitation and Trade Enforcement Act of 2015. As we continue to counter China's malign behavior, it is important that we remember it was the Chinese Communist Party that chose to disregard and undermine international norms and to leverage its economic power against us. Recognizing this fact, we must understand that DHS and the federal government cannot overcome this challenge alone. We need the private, public, and academic sectors to band together as Americans and unite in opposition to China's attempts to undermine what we have spent decades fighting for. As DHS continues to enforce our country's trade laws internationally, we are also fulfilling our duty to enforce the law here at home. DHS, first and foremost, is a law enforcement organization. In fact, we are the largest law enforcement organization in the world. Maintaining the rule of law is ingrained in our department's culture. We do not shy away from this responsibility regardless of the circumstances. Whether it's enforcing immigration laws, stopping drug and human traffickers, enforcing our trade laws, or any of our many other mission sets, we enforce the rule of law without prejudice or bias. Earlier this year, while civil unrest gripped many cities across the country, we upheld the rule of law by protecting federal properties and people in places like Portland, Oregon, Washington, D.C., and Kenosha, Wisconsin. Our efforts in these cities prove that we will not stand idly by as extremists and criminal opportunists loot businesses and endanger our communities. At DHS, we enforce the law unapologetically to prevent criminals from harming American citizens, but we also recognize that there's an important role to play by caring for victims. One of President Trump's top criminal justice priorities when he entered office was prioritizing countering human trafficking efforts an issue which sadly does not receive the attention it deserves from previous administrations. In January, the President signed an executive order calling for a government-wide policy to vigorously prosecute offenders, to assist victims, and to provide prevention education. In October, DHS responded to this call to action by launching the Center for Countering Human Trafficking here at the department, a first-of-its-kind initiative designed to serve as a central hub for victim support, investigative intelligence, data collection and analysis, and training and outreach to law enforcement partners and the public. Led by ICE Homeland Security Investigations, the center includes staff, expertise, and legal authorities drawn from 16 different DHS components. And it's our hope that this investment in resources will bring the attention and time warranted to combat and dismantle all forms of human trafficking in the future. Before I conclude, it's important to recognize that all of these incredible accomplishments would not have been possible without the steadfast leadership and conviction of President Trump and the hard work and dedication of the DHS workforce. The President believes in our mission as in empowering our department by providing the resources we need to accomplish what we do. As Acting Secretary, it's been the greatest honor of my career to lead our dedicated men and women as they work tirelessly to protect the homeland. The American people may not see the work that we do each and every day, but I know they appreciate their efforts. Cooperation from organizations like ALEC is crucial to maintaining and continuing the success DHS has seen over the past year. And I ask that you all continue to find ways and opportunities to support our men and women on the front lines. Maintaining Homeland Security is a broad mission that requires broad partnerships, and I'm confident that with your help, DHS will continue its success. Thank you for your time, but most importantly, thank you for your public service to our country. Thank you.
Please welcome back ALEC National